Okay, good morning class. I'm Miss Fu. Today I'm going to demonstrate how to apply the following reading strategies to make sense of a literary text. These strategies are predicting, chunking, summarizing, questioning, and inferring. Okay, right, before we look at the text, it's useful for us to refer to the summary of the story that's given right at the start. Okay, so it tells us, right, that this is a story that takes us into the future. Right, so I'm going to highlight some keywords over here. Okay, and it tells us that technology has advanced to such a point, right, that it's able to do a lot of things. So it can help with the chores and give entertainment. Alright, but how does this affect the families? Okay, does technology help the children grow up to be psychologically healthy individuals? So this is an interesting point, right? Because technology is going to have a psychological effect on children. Psychological meaning mental effect, okay? And then they talk about parents' responsibilities as well. So this gives us an idea, right, of what the story is going to be about. It's going to be a story set in the future. They're going to talk about the good and bad effects of technology, and they're going to look at how it affects children and parents. Okay, so we can also probably predict that it's going to deal with some children-parent relationship kind of issues, all right, as well as maybe look at the characterization of the children and parents. Okay, so right, let's begin. Okay, it starts with George, I wish you would look at the nursery. What's wrong with it? I don't know. Okay, so over here there's concern about the nursery. All right, so two characters are talking. There's a problem probably with the nursery. Okay, all right, and interestingly enough, right, the character's response is call a psychologist in to look at it. So psychologists, right, psychologists are experts, isn't it? So there's a desire to have a expert's opinion on the room, right? It's interesting, right? I mean, if there's something wrong with the room, we would call maybe the architect or the designer, right? But over here they talk about getting in a psychologist. Interesting. Why? Okay, then the next thing to note would be, okay, what would a psychologist want with the nursery? You know very well what he would want. So there's something going on here that the characters are not telling us. Okay, so we don't know. All we know is that this is some kind of special room, okay, that requires an expert's attention. All right, okay, over here, okay, there's the first description of the stove humming to itself. Interesting, right? Stove humming to itself. So what we see here is a feature of the house, right? Remember we talked about the technologically enhanced house, right? So over here we have the stove cooking by itself. Okay, so now we know that, okay, the problem, right, with the nursery is that it is different. Okay, so they're gonna have a look at it. Right, then there's the introduction to the house, right, over here. So there's okay, cost them $30,000 installed. Okay, the house which clothed and fed and rocked them to sleep. Okay, so we're gonna highlight this. Played and sang and was good to them. Right, so clothed and rocked them to sleep, right, we would interpret this to be house takes care of household chores. Okay, and then besides that, right, it's not just the house played and sang and was good to them, so also provides entertainment and comfort. Okay, so this is what we call an intelligent house. All right, okay, their approach sensitized a switch and the nursery light flicked on when they came. it's automatic, and then behind them, right, lights went on and off. Okay, with the soft automaticity. Okay, all these, right, we can classify them under house features, right? So this tells us something about the house, what the house does. Okay, so let's see, let's go down now. Okay, more description about the house, right? So we already know the house is very costly. Okay, costs half as much as the rest of the house. Very expensive place. Okay, there you have it. Okay, earlier on they said $30,000. Okay, but nothing's too good for our children. So what can you infer about the parents? What kind of parents are these? You would say that they're good to their children, right? They are like doting parents. Okay, doting parents. Okay, willing to spend, to indulge in material comforts. Okay, right. Then after that, there's further description of the nursery. Okay, it was empty as a jungle glade at hot high noon. Okay, so the walls were blank and two-dimensional, so it looks like a pretty normal nursery, right? Okay, then they stood in the center. The walls begin to purl. Okay, walls don't purl, right? So something unusual about the nursery. And recede into crystalline distance. There you go. It presents in African Veldt. Interestingly enough, it's in 3 dimensions. Okay. And reproduced to the final pebble and bit of straw. Okay. So what this tells us is that the house transforms, right, into a realistic setting. And it tells you that, you know, right down to the details. Down to the exact details. Okay, you got more, right? You've got the ceiling becoming a deep sky with a hot yellow sun and all that. Okay, right. And it's so realistic, right, that he felt perspiration starting. Okay. Okay, what else have we got here? Okay, this is a little too real. Okay, this sounds a bit ominous. Ominous means, you know, it sounds maybe a bit threatening, right? Because a room that's too real seems to suggest that something dangerous is going to happen later. Okay, but at this point he says that I don't see anything wrong. Okay, so there you go. So right now we know that two characters, George and his wife, they're talking. Okay, now the hidden autorophonics were beginning to blow a wind of odor. Okay, at the two people. So you've got, you know, the smell of lying grass. Okay, there's some focus on the words, on the sense smell here, right? Odor, and then the smell of grass. So odorophonics is probably some kind of mechanism that releases smell, right? And then you have the smell again of the water hole, smell of the animal, smell of dust. Okay, get the picture, huh? Okay, then, you know, we even see vouchers flying around. Okay. Besides smell, you actually have what? Sounds, right? That's what they say. And then the sounds. Okay, so you have the thump of distant antelope. Then the rustling of vouchers. It's a good text, by the way, guys, if you want to pick up vocabulary for learning those 5 senses. Okay, so now you've got smell and sound of the Veldt. Okay. Oops, where are we now? So this text is good for those of us doing descriptive writing at the moment. But of course, unfortunately, you're not asked to describe an African Veldt yet. Okay, let's see. What have we got next? Okay, then there are the lions. They've been eating I don't know what. Okay, alright, so it's another word we can notice here. The wife sounded peculiarly tense. Okay, Okay, so this is consistent, right, with earlier on her concern. So far, the wife is the one who's been expressing worry about the Veldt. Right, George hasn't exactly appeared so concerned yet. Okay, so we are right, so far, look. He says he's amused. So there's a contrast there, right, between his attitude. Contrast between George's and Lydia's attitude to nursery. Or you want to talk about the technological enhancements, because they are really the same thing. Okay, enhancements. Okay, then she asked him about the screams. Okay, I think we can move on already. Alright. Okay, now the lions were coming. Again, George was filled again. Okay, so it's not the first time. Filled with, okay, what is he? Admiration. Okay, he deems the person who had designed the room a mechanical genius. Alright. So he thinks that it is a miracle of efficiency selling for an absurdly low price. So he thinks that he has paid a very reasonable price for something that he finds it very miraculous. Miraculous means something that is almost like magic, something that is very wonderful. Okay, so he thinks that every home should have a room like that. Okay, so here, occasionally they frighten you with the clinical accuracy, right? So he acknowledges, right? He recognizes. They mean the same thing. You can pick up some summary words here for substitution. He recognizes that the room may appear frightening or dangerous, right? Because it is so realistic. So you begin to fear it, right? Because rooms are not supposed to be like that. So if it's so realistic, you start to get a bit worried. Okay, so he admits that the rooms may startle people, surprise people, give you a twinge, make them uncomfortable, make them awkward. Okay, but most of the time, he thinks, what fun for everyone, not just the son and daughter, but for yourself. Okay, so the room is not just for his son and daughter, but it's also a treat for him, a quick jaunt to a foreign land. Okay, so you can say that he finds it entertaining, right? Entertaining and a novelty. Novelty means that it's something new, right? Okay, so here are the lions. So real. Okay, this is the scary part, right? Imagine the room is able to produce lions that are so real, so feverishly and startlingly real. You could feel the fur on your hand. Okay, now that's pretty freaky, right? Okay, where are we? Let's see. Okay, your mouth was stuffed with the dusty upholstery. Okay, so in your eyes, yellows of the lion. Okay, let's see. So over here, just now earlier on, right, we talked about the sounds and the smell. So here we've got more of the smell. Okay, and the sound as well. Right. We've also got a bit of the, okay, this is the sound, right? Also got a bit of the feeling or taste or touch, touch here, touch, dripping mouths. Right, so the lions reproduced with realism. Alright, because it the five senses help to do this. Okay, so let's see. Let's go up again. Alright, so over here, okay, we know that this is George's attitude. Okay, so towards technology. Right, he sees its benefits. Technology, that's what he sees.